Awakening light. When an angel calls. It was an otherwise ordinary day in the city when the fates of two strangers collided on a bustling street corner. To the outside observer, it was a mundane accident, an abrupt jostling of shoulders and spilling of papers. But was it merely chance that brought these two souls together in this moment? One might ponder if an invisible hand of destiny guided their intersection on this day. Oliver was a man of logic and reason, hardened by his many years of bearing witness to the callousness and injustice of the world. A journalist by trade, he had dedicated himself to exposing corruption and revealing inconvenient truths. And yet in the process, his eyes had been opened to the darkest depths of the human condition, the murderous impulses, the gnawing greed, the insatiable need for power. His youthful ideals had been eroded by the harsh realities he unmasked daily in his work. Some might assert that this was the cost of revealing the truth. But Oliver often wondered, at what point does the seeking of truth lead one into a maze of existential dread and cynicism? At what point is the light overcome by the shadows? So when Oliver collided forcefully with the sharply dressed gentleman on that street corner, spilling the contents of the man's briefcase, he muttered the obligatory apologies with his mind still consumed by the unfolding news story he was chasing. He did not give the stranger a second glance as they crouched to gather the papers. But then the peculiar man spoke with a soft wisdom that momentarily cut through Oliver's single-minded focus. "You seem to be a man on the brink of a grand revelation." The stranger mused. Oliver's instincts told him the man's insight was no lucky guess. But how could this enigmatic figure possess knowledge of Oliver or the transformational forces about to reshape his world? Dismissing it as nonsense, Oliver promptly forgot the strange encounter as he continued his pursuit of the latest sensational news. But over the coming days, fate would remind Oliver of the mystery man's omens. Oliver could not shake the cryptic words of the stranger that day, though he dared not reveal as much. Was it mere coincidence that soon after their fleeting encounter, the first of many incomprehensible events began to transpire around Oliver? Within a week of the sidewalk collision, Oliver received word that a childhood friend, Adam, had resurfaced after years of silence. Why now? Adam had been like a brother to Oliver growing up in their deeply religious small town. But their paths diverged radically as men. Adam devoted himself to the church, while Oliver set out to expose its hypocrisy and flaws. The two parted bitterly, with Adam pleading for Oliver to reconsider his decision to abandon the faith that had nurtured their formative years. And yet, here Adam was, extending an olive branch and seeking reconciliation after so much time apart. Oliver greeted this unexpected gesture with equal parts joy and wariness. Was this another sign, as the mysterious man suggested, of the awakening forces swirling around Oliver? The skeptical voice in Oliver's mind suppressed any such notions. And yet, even stranger events continued in quick succession. A woman named Jenna appeared at Oliver's favorite cafe one morning, capturing his attention and curiosity as if guided by invisible strings of affinity. Upon introducing herself, Oliver was struck by her intellect, magnetism and beauty. But even more so by the feeling that their meeting was fated. Oliver, who had always prided himself on grounded facts, could not begin to explain the uncanny forces bringing these characters into his orbit. Was it mere coincidence, or occurrences ordained by some higher power? The media outlet Oliver worked for abruptly offered him their coveted foreign correspondent position, fulfilling the dream opportunity he had long coveted. After years of dutiful toiling in lesser roles, why open this door now? The executive board claimed Oliver's recent investigative series on wartime contractor corruption had impressed them immensely. But Oliver sensed ulterior cosmic machinations were also at play. Try as he may to cling to his practical, skeptical nature, Oliver felt the ground shifting. Each day new revelations threatened to shatter his worldview. Had these events been set in motion by the stranger's prescient words? And were there greater tremors to come? Oliver felt himself balanced on a precipice from which he could no longer turn away. Oliver grappled to comprehend the unfurling forces that had hijacked his orderly world. But the more he struggled to explain away the odd events, the more fantastical they became. The dinner with Jenna, for instance. Oliver arrived prepared to charm and impress her with his vast knowledge and quick wit. Yet somehow, she managed to turn the tables, enthralling him with her penetrating insights into philosophy, spirituality, and the mysteries of the human psyche. Each time Oliver attempted to steer the conversation toward grounded facts or current events, Jenna steered it effortlessly back to matters of the soul. She spoke of synchronicity, unseen connections, and the possibility of divine intervention in ways that penetrated Oliver's hardened exterior. Was this mere infatuation that clouded his reason? Or had Jenna been delivered into his life for a purpose beyond his understanding? Even Claire's malicious actions ended up propelling Oliver toward his rightful destiny. Claire, the rookie reporter who had long envied Oliver's status at the paper, stole his notes and story ideas, presenting them as her own. This betrayal should have delayed Oliver's ascent to foreign correspondent. And yet, soon after the truth emerged, the editor-in-chief called Oliver into his office. "Despite this ugly business with Claire, your work continues to stand out," he said. "The integrity in your writing is rare in today's cynical age. I am granting you my highest recommendation for the foreign post." Once again, Oliver reeled at the twist of fate. Claire's duplicity, intended to ruin him, had only hastened his promotion. The most shocking development came when Adam invited Oliver to join him visiting their childhood pastor, Father Brown. Though turned off by religion, Oliver agreed, moved by Adam's sentimentality about returning home. At the aging Father Brown's cottage, photos and mementos transported Oliver back to boyhood innocence. The old pastor, frail but lucid, took Oliver's hand. "Your soul has been adrift a long time, my son," he said kindly. "But you are on the path back to the light." Oliver suppressed a scoff. And yet, how could Father Brown know of Oliver's recent transcendent experiences? No one had been told. Was the hand of the divine reaching out through a conduit of the earthly realm? Oliver dared to consider, for the first time, that there may be more than he ever dared imagine. Oliver felt increasingly untethered, grasping for earthly explanations but finding only more mystery at every turn. His encounter with the grief-stricken mother was the final fissure in Oliver's rational armor. She had lost her only son in a tragic accident. Oliver had interviewed countless mourning relatives in his reporter career. Yet for the first time, he could find no empty platitudes to offer her. Instead, he sat speechless as she described a vision she'd had of angels carrying her son to heaven. "I know you don't believe in such things," she told Oliver. "I can see it in your eyes. But I hope one day you will open your heart to worlds beyond what we can touch and measure. There is more." Her serene conviction contrasted against Oliver's inner turmoil. He excused himself hurriedly, overcome with a new sensation, envy. Envy of this woman who had suffered immense tragedy yet emerged with unflappable faith. Why could he not find such certainty? Oliver's disquiet grew. The foreign correspondent role, once his aspiration, now felt vacuous and vain. He withdrew from friends and ceased writing, tormented by existential questions. Jenna suggested a retreat to her uncle's remote mountain cabin, promising Oliver space to clear his racing mind. Though desperate for clarity, Oliver felt only apprehension as they journeyed into seclusion.